Joining me tonight in New York is Midwin Charles, who's an attorney for the law firm Midwin Charles & Associates, and from Hollywood, Leslie Marshall, host of the Leslie Marshall Show on the radio. So at the heart of this decision today, guys, to turn Madonna down was this. A judge said she is not a resident of Malawi, can't adopt this child. Listen to what a spokeswoman for Malawi's Ministry of Justice told CNN right after the judge turned down Madonna.
Madonna still doesn't seem to have permanent residence in Malawi, so that's one reason that she has raised as an issue for denying the adoption, the interim adoption. She has also raised that in terms of the best interests of the child, for the Malawian standards, the fact that the child is at orphanage and is being taken care of and is going through school, the school education system, that does qualify as the best interest of a child.
Okay, so despite the incredible life that Madonna could obviously give little mercy, the judge in this case felt Madonna taking her out of Malawi, not in the girl's best interest. Midwin, off to you first. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with it. Look, Malawi has these rules in place. They weren't followed. Madonna gets denied. After all, why is it that these brown babies are now the latest accessory in Hollywood? What's wrong with the brown children in South Central Los Angeles? That's what I say.
Leslie, what about you?
Well, being that I've adopted one of those brown children from Pakistan, try adopting one of the brown children, especially if you're a white chick, by the way. Here in the United States, they do not condone interracial adoption as heavily as they do international adoption, and a lot of those children are trying to be placed with their biological parents. But regarding this, yes, there are laws, and Madonna can appeal and can stay there for 18 months. But if you think the best interest of this child is AIDS, impoverished conditions, starvation, I'll tell you, I've traveled the world, and at orphanages, children always say the same thing to me. Their wish is to be adopted, to have a mommy and or a daddy.
Midwin, I hear you throw that accessory label on it, and that bothers me a little bit because I've heard that thrown around. Do you really think that that's what it was for Madonna?
I think it was. I mean, why is it that you need to have a press conference before you decide to adopt a child? I mean, let's be clear here. It is abundantly clear that it is chic to do this now. And it's not that difficult to adopt here in the United States. There are plenty of people who do it all the time.
Have you tried?
All day long. I haven't tried, but I've looked at the rules. And the rules are not that difficult to overcome, nor surmount. The problem is that people have a particular preference with where they want to adopt to, where they want to get the child from, and so they go ahead and get the child from that particular country.
Yeah,
but it's not because it's impossible to do it here in the United States.
I just don't see Madonna, as trendy as she may be, as doing it because she's trendy. But here's the thing. Let's talk about these rules, because here's what baffled so many people about the decision. You know, Madonna adopted her son David from Malawi in 2006, and the rules were the same back then. Doesn't that seem unfair to you, Midwin?
If the rules were the same back then and they weren't followed this time, then I don't know. I mean, if they have a residency requirement, she was able to skirt that the first time around. I don't know. Did she skirt it this time? I don't know. But why is it that Madonna thinks she has this inalienable right to adopt this child from Malawi? Why is it? Why? Because she's rich and wealthy? There are thousands of children in that country who are just fine in these adoption centers.
Leslie, what do you think? Because they did obviously seem to set a precedent back then, and I'm sure this judge is getting a fair amount of grief about this.
Well, there are rules in place that were in place then. The problem is you've got to be consistent as a country, a judge or otherwise. If there was an exception made because of her celebrity, because of the amount of money that she put into that country and how much she has helped those people, well, then maybe they need to look at this time. And why is she lambasted when Angelina Jolie is put on a pedestal? You don't think that Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt get preferential treatment, or any celebrity, or by the way, any non-celebrity who's wealthy when it comes to any transaction, adoption included?
Yeah,
that's a reality.
I don't think Madonna's the one who should be vilified if the rules are bent on her behalf. The person who bends the rules, maybe vilify them. That's just where I sit. We've been talking about this all week, obviously. You got to take a look at the response we got in the Showbiz Tonight question of the day. We asked on air and online, Madonna's new adoption, is the criticism of her unfair? And as you see here, 46% said yes, 54% no, not unfair. A majority, although a small one, against Madonna here. Now, Leslie, back to you. Do you think that's because Madonna is simply such a polarizing figure? People aren't even bothering to base it on whether or not she is a good mom or can give this child a good home?
Are you saying, is she the Hillary Rodham Clinton of pop? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because once again, Angelina Jolie has adopted from many countries and has not waited in the line I and many other people have internationally. And Madonna wouldn't wait in line in America either. You watch. But I do think Madonna is judged more harshly because Angelina technically is a single parent like Madonna is. I don't think it has to do with the race here. I do think it has to do with people either love or hate Madonna, and that's why you see the poll so close on this.
Off to the Showbiz On-Call phone lines. They've been ringing nonstop. Everybody's got something to say about this. I want you to listen to what Hasiba, who says she is from Malawi, has to say about Madonna wanting to adopt Little Mercy. Listen.
I am from Malawi, and I believe Madonna has every right to adopt a child from whatever country she believes is worthy of her love. And so if she decides Malawi is it, even though I'm from Malawi, that is fine. We are more than happy to have her assist in children that need love.
All right, Hasiba, we appreciate your call. Now, Madonna, as we've been talking about, has committed herself to the people of Malawi. Lots of charity work there. She's planning to continue with that work as far as we know. So what do you think, Midwin, given everything that Madonna has done for the people of Malawi? And yes, it's because she is rich and famous, but should that not have been taken into consideration?
I'm sure it was taken into consideration, but at the end of the day, what the judge, I think, was doing here is considering the welfare of that individual child. I don't care how much money you pour into Malawi. You have to consider the welfare and well-being of this individual child, and I'm sure the judge had facts before him that we don't have in making that determination, but I'm sure that those people, quote-unquote, to use the term that the other woman used earlier, have the right to make the determination whether or not they feel it is in the best interest of a child to leave that country and be in the hands and care of someone else.
I want to get to one more call. Kathy in Mexico calling into Showbiz On Call with an opinion we've really been hearing from so many people all week. Listen to this.
I think it's really great that people want to adopt children, period, but I think home is where the heart is, and I think there are enough children in this country that need good homes, you know, and I don't think you get extra credit for adopting children from third world countries. Home is where the heart is.
All right, Kathy, thank you for your call. Leslie, what about that? So much has been made. Midwin's been talking about it. She should maybe be adopting here in the States instead of elsewhere. Now that this may not go through, and I have 10 seconds for you, should she be focusing on this country and perhaps adopting here?
I'm going to tell you something somebody told me as an adoptive parent. You don't find your child, they find you. And when they say home is where the heart is, that's true. And your heart will lead you to that child, whether it's here in the U.S., in Malawi, or in my case, Pakistan. But let me tell you, you will know which child is for you because they find you.
Got to leave it there. Well said. Leslie Marshall, Midwin.